Hello. Today we'll be comparing problem and project-based learning as presented through a specific learning task that can be used in our classrooms this year. It will focus on our school's upcoming playground rehabilitation happening next summer. Our school is getting a new playground, and this does present a perfect opportunity to incorporate an engaging learning task for our students through a PBL, whether that be a problem-based learning or a project-based learning. The following will be an explanation of how we can engage our students in collaborative, active learning through the use of problem or project-based learning that centers on solving the problem of needing an inclusive playground here at our school. Because our school houses an autism spectrum disorder program, it's important that every student in our school has the ability to use our playground to its fullest. Currently, our playground is about 30 years old and it doesn't always meet the needs of every student. Not every student is able to play on it the same way that an able-bodied student would be. Our school has a wide variety of abilities and interests, and getting a new playground allows all students and community members to be able to use our playground. So we want to engage our students in a process that will allow them to explore this playground and kind of create their own ideas of what would be inclusive to all students. So how do we engage our students through this process, through problem or project-based learning? Creating learning opportunities in which our students can be actively part of the learning process rather than passively receiving information through a lecture is an important part of the PBL process, regardless if it is a problem or project-based learning task. I'll be explaining both problem and project-based learning, as well as explaining what a playground PBL would look like in either situation. In both problem and project-based learning, students are presented with a problem that relates to a real-world issue. In this case, the problem is the need for an inclusive playground. Students will explore a solution to the problem in both types of PBL, and the difference will be in what students do with the information they gain related to their solution. So with problem-based learning, it's an active learning, student-centered technique that allows students to develop high-level cognitive abilities such as critical thinking, problem solving, and they'll work in a group as they reflect on their learning. Often it will be small groups working together to find a solution to a given complex problem. And students will also be able to create an open-ended solution to the problem. They'll interpret their solution in different ways. What this might look like with a playground PBL would be through a series of steps students would take as a teacher is facilitating the process. So step one would be that the teacher introduces the problem to the students and allows them to generate questions, solutions, ideas about the problem, and giving students the opportunity to formulate that problem on their own. Then once they have that problem, they move on to step two, which is allowing students to work in groups to research what makes a playground inclusive for all. And then they would record their findings throughout and compile a list of what they find throughout the inquiry process. After step two, and after students have already gone through the inquiry process and research, they would debrief the information they've learned. This could include creating a presentation, sharing their findings with the class, overall just reflecting on the process and what they have learned related to the problem that was given at the beginning. Similarly to problem-based learning, project-based learning is an engaging process in which students learn new knowledge and skills through an extended inquiry process that is structured around complex, authentic questions. So it's not just a quick one class period or several class period process. It's an extended process that may take more time from class. It's also an engaging learning opportunity that allows students to develop both intellectually and emotionally. They'll learn social emotional skills from working together throughout this process, and they'll gain academic knowledge related to the topic. It also engages students in the 4 C's, which are critical thinking, communication, collaboration, and creativity. And it is also a process that has been found to improve student communication through collaboration and conflict resolution skills. Because there is a lot of small group working together, they may have different opinions about what they think the solution may be or the process they want to take, and it allows students the opportunity to work through some of those with conflict resolution. Now, what this would look like with the playground PBL would follow a similar process to a problem-based learning, but it has a different end to it. So students, the same thing, they're introduced to the problem, and then the teacher allows them to generate questions and solutions to the problem. They work in groups to research, to find information about what makes a playground inclusive for all. This may be looking at um, inclusive play equipment, looking at what specifically would make the playground inclusive, and finding um, different pieces of information that they could use. Now, this is where it becomes a little bit different. Students actually create a project throughout the project-based learning that will encompass all of what they've learned throughout the inquiry process. So in this case, students might create a 3D design of an inclusive playground that they think should be implemented at their school. And then step 4 would be to present their findings, present the design that they've created to either the school board or park district officials to really take the project to the next level and bring it to the real world. So problem and project-based learning, what are they? Are they the same? Are they different? They're both. The main difference between problem and project-based learning is the end product, but problem and project-based learning do share many similarities, such as collaboration, exploration of a real-life problem, and requiring higher-order thinking to take place. However, they also have differences that impact the overall procedure of a PBL. Problem-based learning does not always require students to create a product at the end of their learning and exploration, and they simply may just reflect on their findings and call it a day after that. Conversely, project-based learning typically has students creating a product of some kind to showcase their findings throughout their exploration. This product may be presented to the real-world people that are related to that field, such as in the playground task, the park district officials. Both have a similar process, but they do have differing final steps. And that is problem and project-based learning as used with a playground experience in our school. Thank you very much.